Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is The Road to the Record, where I work to achieve mastery of 10 games in a hunt for the best score of the Decathlon. If you like what you see, remember to hit that like button. You want to see more? Hit subscribe. Let the games begin. This is Draft Day Sports College Basketball 2019, episode 48. We are now into the regular conference portion. Last episode I mentioned that this was my second season in Conference A, and no, it's not. Last season I was promoted to Conference A in the surprise move at the end of the season. This is my first time playing in Conference A, aka the top tier of college basketball. If you have not seen this series from the beginning, you're watching this for the first time, not likely, but just in case, quick rundown. Instead of your normal, traditional layout of the conferences, which is available to play in this game, by the way, I opted for a promotion relegation system spread out by prestige. Now, I first did a playthrough in college basketball 2017. I skipped 2018 and went straight to 2019. I did many seasons of that, and I started from literally the bottom, the last division that is playable, Conference V. And I slowly worked my way up. I think I ended the 2017 playthrough getting into Conference F. I started this series for 2019 with the same coaching attributes that I had at the end of that series, with the same team prestige that we had at the end of that series, at the same level. But it was recreating a team from scratch, so I did not have my roster carry over. We did not have our experience with the practice and with the formations and the plays, and all of that. We started from scratch, so we absolutely got our butts handed to us, got relegated twice, and then started building back up from there. And here we are, finally at the pinnacle, Conference A. We've done our non-conference part of the schedule. I won 2 games off camera, so we are 11-2, and we are finally healthy. Of those 2 losses, one of them, they were both on the road. No, they weren't. One was at home, wasn't it? At least one was on the road, and it was attributed to both being on the road, to being a rival game, and to having 3 players out injured for that. My recruiting is done. Jim Ross, ranked number 37, the only scholarship that is going to become vacant. I have 2 seniors in the starting lineup for the first time ever. I have a walk-on who's not only somewhere in the rotation getting more than 1 or 2 minutes, but a starter and contributing well. It's crazy. I'd love to give him a scholarship, but that can't happen now. Now, you look it up and down, most of these guys played all of their games at home. We're actually on the lower end of that. 6-1 is our home record right now as we enter conference play. 11-2 overall. Looking up and down the conference, nobody's bad. Oregon, the most losses right now at 9-4. Michigan 7-4. Iowa 9-3. Georgia Tech 8-3. One important thing of note, though, is that only 4 teams are not ranked, and I am the last ranked team. So if you take the rankings as some sort of indicator of how well we're going to do, as in North Carolina's the favorite and Nevada's the second favorite, and Duke is they're all in this conference. Maryland, top 4 teams in the nation, top 5 teams, top 6, top 7, top 8. The entirety of the top 8 are all Conference A teams. Utah is the first team outside of Conference A in the rankings at 9. And that's what I love about this playthrough. In real life, it is so common to see, well, it kind of happens in the NBA. NBA is a good example of this. Western Conference, stacked. 10-12 really good teams every year. Eastern Conference, 1 2, maybe 3 good teams. The Western Conference beats the crap out of each other. Whoever survives to get the championship should cruise over those Eastern Conference teams. But here's what happens. You beat the crap out of each other. So even when you're at your best, by the time you get to the finals, you're exhausted, you're injured. What do you have left in the tank? In the Eastern Conference, they don't even play a real game all season long until they get to conference semis, conference finals. It's an exaggeration, okay? Especially recently, it's not that bad. It's closer. But even mentioning this past season, you can beat Toronto and come into it and beat Golden State. Why? Because Golden State, even though they swept Portland led 70% of that series, of the minutes. They led by large margins. Golden State just inched their way through 4 games. Well, 3 games. They won 1 comfortably. But even in that game, they still trailed for a good chunk of it. And then they had to slog through Houston before that, and whoever they played in the first round. Utah? I don't know. I forget who they played already. Clippers. LA Clippers. Clippers before this year's Clippers. And oh gosh, look, there you go. Clippers. Lakers. Way better. New Orleans. Better. The Western Conference just got tougher. And a lot of talent walked away from the Eastern Conference. So, are we back to it again this year? Well, that's what I love about this series and this promotion relegation. Putting all the top prestige teams in the same conference. Look at this roster. Look who I'm going up against this season. Duke, North Carolina, Syracuse, Georgia Tech, Michigan State, Louisville, Maryland, Iowa, Michigan, Nevada, Oregon, Oklahoma State, Stanford, Florida, Cincinnati. Yeah, that's right. We're going to get slaughtered. That is crazy. Like I said, the entirety of the top 8 in the rankings. We'll see what we can do. 16 games. We've got to stay out of the bottom 4. It's a rebuilding year. We're better than I thought we were. We beat Stanford already. And we beat somebody else too, didn't we? No, Conference B teams. 2 Conference B teams. But we've also lost to 2 much lower ranked teams. If we could stay healthy, I think we've got enough in us to stay above the bottom 4. And then next year we'll be better. Hopefully. If Jim Ross comes in as an instant starter, we should be better. We'll have 1 position to fill, small forward, also losing a senior, but he's non-scholarship, so no replacement, meaning it's got to come from the current roster, which means the guys actually have to develop. And my assistant coaches, well, they're not so great. So we don't tend to develop a crazy amount, even though I might be maxed out on that stat. It still requires my assistant coaches and the facilities as well. Facilities are good. The favorite over Oklahoma State, that's good. This is our first look at, there's Nevada, number 2. Not even close. 11% chance. There's so much parity here in Conference A, top to bottom. There's our close matchup, and it's Maryland. Number 4. Ooh, okay. Maybe they've got us underrated. Favorites over my Ducks. On paper. But I don't have depth beyond the starting 5. So foul trouble, see ya later. Sayonara. Bye-bye. We suck with foul trouble. I think that's probably the main culprit for those losses. So here we go. Conference opener. Oklahoma State. It's a winnable game. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. home versus away, I think could play a significant factor in our performance. Oklahoma State 9-2. Their highest scoring guy is their senior center at 13 points. Ours, Kirkland, right about 16. He's not grabbing a lot of rebounds, actually, so it could be good. Maurice Walk, though, big time freshman player there at forward, power forward. Not a terribly young team, but not a terribly old team. 3 seniors starting. Not a lot of assists from their point guard. That could be good for us because... Oh, it's 4 assists. That's rebounds. Still, not a lot of assists. Not a lot of production, period, from their point guard. That could be good for us because Al Morrison is good defensively. We could win that matchup. Maybe. Just maybe. It's a home game. It's going to be weird. We go up against Oregon, and we're going to be on this mat court Kilkenny floor no matter what. As I borrowed this floor from them. I did mention a handful of episodes back that maybe one of these days... Wow, we have not scored yet. 2.5 minutes into this game. We finally get a bucket. It looked like it was a 3, but we only got 2 points there. Back-to-back made buckets. 2 fouls already. 3-pointer. Woo! Fast break bucket. 9-5. -2 on rebounds. +3 on turnovers. They are just 1 of 6 from the field so far, but 5 of 6 from the free throw line. They are being given gifts from the whistle that are keeping them in this game. We got the rebound on that one, 16-7. They continue to miss. Turnover. Missed 3. Wide open, too. Rebound, put back. Oklahoma State finally gets their second field goal of the game. And another gift. That's 4 fouls. They have not been called for 1 yet. It's 23-11, though. Switch to the full court pressure. Under pressure, they score. We've got heavy momentum. Look at that. The bar is totally full here as we switch to that defense to keep that pressure on. And it's 25-14 now. 5 fouls. Every single one of them resulting in free throws. That's the only thing keeping them in this game at all. Otherwise, we'd be up by 22 points right now. Make that 21 points. They have made 1 3-pointer, 4 total field goals until just now. So that would have been 9 points. It would have been 30-9 that moment ago. We still have the momentum, but we are up to 7 fouls, and they just now got called for their second of the game. They've only even had 19 attempts compared to our 28. So we are completely dominating in every respect other than the referee's whistle. Nigel Porter has 15 points already on 6 of 8 shooting as he sits on the bench right now, getting a break, recovering. He'll come out nicely. Derek Webb has been doing decently in his stay. He's got 3 assists off the bench, 4 points. But Kirkland has 11 points. He's got no fouls. It's Al Morrison who's sitting on 2. So even though we've been called for 7 fouls, we're at least not in too much trouble right now. But Al Morrison has 6 assists, 4 points. He's having a huge game so far. But with 2 fouls, I'm nervous about what could happen. 1.5 minutes left in the first half. We lead by 10. Things have settled down. OSU 10 of 28 now. That's a lot better than it was. Whew, nice. Made that bucket in close, but they answered right back with a 3? I thought that was like 5 feet away. Apparently it flew over the head of that player, and I just caught it at that moment. We end the half with a 49-39 lead. Now, Oklahoma State is actually one of those 4 teams that is not ranked. So, as nice as that first half was, 2 things. 1, we're at home. 2. They're one of the 4 teams that's expected to be relegated already, at least based on non-conference form and media predictions. Kind of combining. Nice wide open 3 there, and it's a 14-point lead. Starting to build momentum again. Momentum was lost at half. And another 3-pointer opens this game up. It's a 17-point lead just 3 minutes into the second half. Nigel Porter has 18 points, 7 of 12 shooting. I think he's the one knocking down those threes because, well, could be Morrison. Morrison just suddenly jumped to 9 points as well. Both of those two have put up some big points here to start the second half. (63-44), 19-point lead. That momentum has opened right back up. So big start to the half. We've already been called for 3 fouls again here. A lot of guys sitting on 2 fouls. So foul trouble could be a way for Oklahoma State to get back in this game. So we got to be really careful of that. Big 3-pointer there, 69-44. Kirkland's got 13. Porter's got 21. Morrison's on 11 points. Melson just steadily getting things done. 8 points, 4 rebounds. He's got a block, no turnovers. He's 4 of 4 from the field. He's taking advantage of his chances. Cougar, 8 points, 4 assists, 4 blocks. Taking a rest right now. Porter up to 23 now. Adds his second steal. And it's a 20-point lead. Looks like we are cruising to our first conference victory. This looks really good for our chances. Also, based on the way the schedule normally works, though it doesn't always work this way, you have how many teams? 16 in the conference? No. It's 12. I think it's 12. Now I've lost track. Well, whatever it is, usually the first 3 or 4 teams that you play are the last 3 or 4 teams you play after you've played everybody. And if it is 12, that would make sense, right? 12 teams, play all 12, and then you go back and play the first 4 that you played again as you restart that schedule. I think that's the way the balanced scheduling generally works on this playthrough. 85-63, 3.5 minutes to play. We've got this thing in the bag. -7 rebounds, but we have 8 steals, 8 blocks, 10 steals, only 6 turnovers. So plus 11 in that department. 55% shooting to their 40. The big difference, 8 free throw attempts. They had 24. It was the only thing that was keeping them in this game. Both teams shooting well beyond the arc. They're 7 of 19. We're 8 of 19. And we are killing some time here. Final minute. Moving the ball around. Just killing clock. 5, 3, 2. Throw up a shot, and we make it. 91-67. Ooh, they lost the ball real quick. Couldn't do anything with it, so we finish it off 91-67. Final score, Nigel Porter with 23 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 steals, and a block, and no turnovers. And we took 16 attempts. That's something to keep in mind, but that's still 9 of 16. That's not Kobe Bryant type numbers. Kobe Bryant's somebody who would shoot 7 of 18 night after night after night after night. So he was always putting up 18, 20 points a night or 20 plus a night. But he'd do it on way more shots than it should be necessary. Not quality looks. Melson, though, see, that's my hero right there. 10 points, 2 assists. 6 rebounds. That's not a big stat line. 5 of 6 shooting. That's efficiency. Taking advantage of your chances. Making the best of your chances. Alright. So we open conference play with a huge win for us, and scoreline really suggests that it was a huge win. It's a good confidence builder, but they are picked as one of the teams to go down anyway. It's going to take at least 6 wins. We still need to pull out 5 more. It's probably going to take 7 or 8 wins to be safe. Next up, road game, number 2 Nevada. Good luck to us there. Good luck to us being within 20 points in that game. North Carolina, Nevada, and at least Duke. We saw Maryland scouting report. They don't look too bad. But those first 3, and by the way, Maryland's the only undefeated team. Maryland didn't look too bad. So could we beat Maryland? Maybe. Those top 3, though, very much out of our reach. I think, my goal for this season, I'm not even worried about whether we make the NCAA tournament. It's clear, though, that we do still have quality. At least quality starting 5. If we do well enough to get into the tournament, I think we can get Sweet 16, maybe Elite 8. But I'm not sure we're going to make the tournament. I have a feeling we're going to take too many losses here in conference play. I'm still optimistic that we're going to get enough production, enough value, enough wins to not go down. But I'm not surprised at all that we lost that game. I was hoping to keep it within 20. We lost by 28. That was all first half. We were down by 28 at halftime. Second half was level at 30 apiece. Defense stepped up in a big way, but they also probably shaved some minutes off their starters. Actually, really not so much. 4 guys played probably one minute only. I'm sure that was the last minute because they all have a -3. So garbage time. Otherwise, they were only 8 deep. A little surprising there. 16 points, 20 rebounds for Lovett. Small forward. Dang. That guy's got to be a 5-star talent. Somebody's got to have him, right? Next up, my alma mater. Number 21, Oregon, just 10-5. So they've already taken 1 loss. I think they're 1-1 through their first 2 conference games. Yeah, they are. They were 9-4. It's a home game. But like I said, it would be on the same court either way. Okay, North Carolina, top 2 teams, yeah, we're massively overmatched by them. We beat Stanford already, and we are the favorite to beat them again. I think that the home and away scheduling could be crucial to how we do. Because we can definitely win some games. We're not going to win a whole lot. But we could definitely win some games. And if we play the bulk of these top, 5 teams, if we play them 3 or 4 of those games on the road, our chances of having enough wins to stay afloat in Conference A goes up a lot. By the way, we are ranked 22, they're ranked 23, so we've got a top 25 matchup. We'll just box score this one. I can't handle watching that game. I can't handle it. It's too hard for me. Actually, it's not that hard. I used to coach against the school that I attended. The school that I coach for now, last few seasons, 4 seasons, is the school that I attended. It's been a lot easier since then, but I have coached against that same school. 1 point. 1 point loss. And it was neck and neck throughout 11 lead changes, 5 ties. Points in the paint go their way. That seems to be the difference. Corey Chambers, center. 20 and 16 for him. Again, center and rebounding, Kirkland had just 9. So he had a -7 deficit alone. He was 2 for 5 alone. So Kirkland struggled. Cougar, 6 of 15, struggled. He might have been our leading scorer, but he was 6 for 15. Morrison was 4 for 13. Still had 7 assists, but 6 turnovers. We had 12 blocks to their 4, but we were only +4 in the turnover department. Fouls, only a deficit of 3, so it's not like we were crazy in the fouls department, but it also depends on who and where they were. Cougar had 4, so he had probably limited minutes. Just him, though. Rebounding, -12. That's the big deficit. -12 in rebounding. Both teams had 63 field goal attempts. We made 5 more than them. But they were 24 for 28 from the line. We were 14 for 22. So rebounding and free throws decided the game. And like I said, that home and away thing, it's going to matter a lot. That was a winnable game. That was a game we should have won. And it was a game that we led every facet of the game except 2 things, and we lost. They out-rebounded us, and they made their free throws. We did everything else better than they did. Or at least as well. Not a good start to our survival bid here. Just 1 win in 3 attempts. That ratio would put us at 5 and 10 with 1 game left to play. Winning the final game to go 6 and 10 might not be enough. 5 and 11 would definitely not be enough. And here's Maryland. Apparently a winnable game. But you look at the 2, Maryland's supposed to be a lot better. So, not putting too much hope into this. And it's on the road. But we do win it. By 1 point. The same exact scoreline. The road team comes away with a 77-76 win. And here we go. Kirkland now steps up 27, 13, and 6. That's kind of funny. That is kind of funny. 12 of 17 shooting, so massive day. Double-double, 4 turnovers. Morrison just 1 turnover today, 15 points and 7 assists. So big day for him as well. Did not expect that. I know it was a winnable game, but it was on the road at 15-1 Maryland, who was ranked 4th just a week ago. Next up is Stanford. Stanford, we've already beaten this season in that non-conference preseason-ish. There's no preseason in college basketball, but non-conference schedule part of the year in that little mini tournament we attended, and it was for the championship of that tournament. We beat Stanford to claim that. Stanford actually just dropped from the rankings after losing both games this week. They're down to 10 and 7. So that's one of the more winnable games we're going to get. Iowa coming up. They're just 10 and 6, so we're a slight favorite there. So it's looking a little bit better. Some of the teams are struggling. Louisville do look like one of the better teams. Louisville was higher in the rankings just a little bit ago. They were one of the top 10, weren't they? We're up to 21st now. So mid-January here. That Stanford game, it'd be a tough pill to swallow if we lose that one. It's not a given that we're going to win it. They were not one of those 4 relegation teams, even though they are not ranked now. They are right about where I felt we were. We beat them once already, but it's really tough to beat teams again and again and again. It was neutral last time, and we're at home this time. You want to say we could do this, but that doesn't mean we will. Every game in conference is going to be a challenge. We got that win, though. And this is actually what I wanted. North Carolina, on the road. Nevada, on the road. Maryland, right? That was a road game, wasn't it? 92-71. Nice. Let's go ahead and take a glance. 5 games in, so we're about a third of the way into the conference schedule. Stanford's 0-5. Georgia Tech, Michigan, and Iowa 1-4. One surprise so far, Oklahoma State at 3-2, still not ranked. But they are 12-4, so they are right on the edge of the rankings and probably could or would be ranked soon. But at 3-2, we're in a pretty dang good place. Florida, the only undefeated right now. North Carolina and Nevada each taking 1 loss. Duke has 2 losses. We're level with Duke right now in the rankings. That's a little surprising, but we don't know who they've played in those games. Have they played Florida, North Carolina, and Nevada? Have they gone 1-2 against those 3 teams? Who's to say, unless I dig deeper. But this is a really good start so far. 3 wins. What did I say we're going to need? I said 6-10 might be enough, but probably not. 7 should be enough. 7-9 should be safety. 7-9, like 99% should be safety. Got 3 wins. A third of the way in. We only need 4 with 2/3 plus 1 game still to go. 11 still to play. 4-7 would be enough. So that's pretty dang good. But I've got a lot going on here, so I've got to keep moving on to some other things that I'm going to be doing. More recordings. So I'm about to hit number 5 of the day. So a lot going on. But thanks for tuning in. I'm Decathlon Gamer. That's going to do it for this episode. We're going to continue this journey into the next one. That's it. Be sure to hit that like button. Bye for now.